Okay, another life coach session. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. I don't know. Maybe there's a Tuesday song out there. I don't know. Life coaching, interesting, fascinating thing. It's not advice. It's not counseling. It's not psychotherapy. It's not here, do this, do that. Yeah, psychiatry heals the past. Advice corrects the future. Life coaching corrects the present. Life coaching creates the future. That's what I want to say. Life coaching it aims you in the direction of where you want to go. Everybody's got different goals. Some are, I want to lose weight. Some are, I want to make more money. And that's what typically is associated with life coaching. You too can make more money. You can double your salary. But that doesn't make you a happier person. It satisfies a problem, solves a problem, but doesn't necessarily make you a happy person. Unless it's like maybe about 10 million or something like that. That can make you pretty happy. It would take you a while to figure out how depressed you are if you had 10 million. I'm joking. Don't want to, put something bad out there. All right. 3 questions. First one is this. These are your questions. Right? These are your questions. Okay. My grown child can't find a job. The financial responsibility is too much for me. What do I do? Your grown child can't find a job. And the financial responsibility is too much for you? That means you are paying bills you're not supposed to pay. That means, come on, work with me. You got this kid on hold. Kid can't grow. Kid needs to know what it's like to go without. You can't bankroll this kid and think you're doing him a favor. He's going to hate you for it. He's going to disrespect you and talk ill of you and say things and be snippy. Because underneath it all, the child wants to grow up. The child wants to do their own thing. The child wants to be on their own. They want to drive their own car. When was the last time, the kid said, okay, I want you to drive the car with me. Please, I want you to drive. I just want you to sit there and drive while I drive. And we'll drive together. We'll drive everywhere together. Kids don't do that. They want their own car. They want to go where they want to go. And in life they do, but sometimes they get into a place where they can't afford it. So then they try to hustle mom and dad, make them feel sad, and they give it to them. And I know this is a difficult scenario because, but it's hard to say no to a kid. Well, because you see that kid and you also see the little boy and you see the one that went first day in school and how hard he tried and in high school and all the ups and downs and all the things he went through and all he's asking for is just pay this one bill and I get that. But if you're going to look at the scope of that child's life, you can't just look at it from beginning till now. You have to look at it from now till the end as well. So if we're scoping the life, making our decisions based on the fact you need to know all that he is. Well, you also need to look at all he's going to become. That's just as important. And if in paying his bills for him, you're teaching him how to be dependent on somebody else, teaching him how not to be an independent person, how to get someone else to pay their way. It's a growth stunter. And the only one that can really do that is usually a parent. It's funny because the one that brings them up to this point can also be the one that stifles them from moving forward because they don't want them to lead. And part of that is you don't want them to become so independent of you that they don't need you anymore. But in the process, you're killing something in the child. So if you're paying for your kid's bill and the kid's an adult, kid's gonna have to move out. And I mean like ASAP. Because what will happen is when that child, let's say he's 22, 23, I don't know. When he moves out, he's going to want to go hang out or team up with some other guys that are his age. Right? He's going to want to stay with them, or he's probably going to figure out something else to go, teamwork with his buddies. Well, his buddies are hustling, and they're going to be the example of a worker for him that he needs to measure up to. And if he's not cutting his end, and if he's not coming up with his end of the bargain and paying the rent, well, they're going to come down on him like life comes down on you. Like your insurance company will come down on you when you don't pay your bills. Oh, please, we don't understand. I've been sick lately. Hey, pay me. Like The Sopranos. Pay me. But I know my mortgage is due, but you don't understand. I've been so upset. My aunt, she's had back problems. I've been visiting her. Oh, pay me. I don't care about your aunt. Where's my money? Give me more money. Give me more money. That's life. That's what life does to you. And that's what life will say to you. Your life's not your mother. Your life's not your daddy. Life makes you grow up. And the best way is to allow that child to be on their own. What are you going to do? You go play games with them on the field? To go play tackle? If some kid tackles them, they got to do jump on the kid? No, they got to do it they got to do it by themselves. If your daughter's cheerleading and she falls, ready to go run out there and pick her up and put her on the other girl's shoulders. You can't do that. You got to let them fall. So if they can't find a job, and if you're the one responsible, that means you have taken on a responsibility that God did not give you to take on. Because they're an adult now. When they were kids, it was different. Raise up a child, train up a child in the way they will go. When they get older, they'll not depart from. Well, the kid's older now. It's up to him not to depart, not for you. It's up to him. So it's a hard decision to make, but if you do it, you're doing it for their best interest. If you don't do it and you continue to pay, it's for your best interest. So you have to decide, do you want to do what's best for you to make you feel good, or the one that's going to make them a better person? Because if you continue to pay that bill, then you're doing it so you feel good, irregardless of what damage it might do to the child. It's a hard one, but it's a necessary one. Whom the Lord loves, the Lord chastens. Hey, we don't get away with anything from God. You know what I'm saying? Here's something to think about today. The greater danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it. The most dangerous thing you can do in life is have a goal that's so low that you actually hit it and you stop your progress. You stop growing. You stop the interest that life has and the intrigue that life has. The goal has to be beyond you. It has to be to the point where God has to help you. You have to have some supernatural help. You have to learn some new things. You have to do some new things. You have to do things you've never done before to get things you've never gotten before, because it's a part of the growth process. The greater danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high, but it's that if it's too low, we might attain it. That guy Conor McGregor, the fighter, right? He's the guy that fought Floyd Mayweather, and he jumped out of the UFC, went into boxing, first professional fight. This guy got made like over $100 million. He probably will write a book someday, but he actually lives it. He lives this book. He says, if your dream doesn't scare you, then it's not big enough. I love that. If your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. Next question. How do I begin a full-time ministry? You really want to know? It's a tough one. You begin full-time by being part-time. Whatever the ministry is that you want to be full-time in, start volunteering for it. Start doing it part-time, whatever it is. If it's preaching, I don't know. Everybody thinks they're a preacher. Every Christian I know thinks they're a preacher, right? But let's just say it is. Let's just say you really are. I would find, if you think you have a word and you want to give it, then just start giving it. Don't wait for some opportunity to wait. Opportunity is all around you. You could have a Bible study at your house. Invite a couple people over. You could do Bible studies before you go to work in the morning. Everybody come, get a couple people come sit in the car with you. Just practice delivering and concising your thoughts on the word and delivering it to people to see if they get something out of it. If they keep coming back, that means you probably got something. If they try to avoid you, that means you might be called to make hula hoops or something. I don't know, but if you're going to be in a full-time ministry, you have to start part-time in whatever area that is. And if you don't really have enough interest to be a part-time and to do it, you don't really have a genuine love for it, then get out of it. Just because you're not in a full-time ministry doesn't mean you're not saved or not a Christian. I mean, full-time ministry is hard. It's like anything else in life. It's all hard work. It's all hard work. But you want to find something that you would normally want to do even if you weren't getting paid for it. Because there'll be times when you're not getting paid for it. And there'll be times where you're overworked and you're overdoing it. And it's not worth it. And you're getting underpaid. But if you enjoy what you're doing at the core of it, and you really have a call for it, you'll make it through all those crazy times, and it'll all even out in the end. So if I knew what the type of ministry it was, I could direct you specifically. If I was talking to you and I asked you specifically, what do you want to do? I would ask you about your church and who your friends are and what you find of interest. And I'd help you find and craft something that would make sense to you. And you'd be, by the end of our conversation, that you'd have a real firm direction on what a specific step to take. But general steps is that you start by just doing it anywhere. And if there's nobody to do it for, do it into the mirror. Pretend. I used to pretend that I would write songs because I always wanted to be a songwriter. So I would pretend I had my whole audience there, and I would play a song, and I would act this out all by myself. Nobody was there. I was like, just by myself, and I would play the guitar, and I'd say, hey, I wrote a song. And I'd imagine these people say, really? They said, play it for us. Okay. Then I'd start playing. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? And they'd be like, oh, man, you wrote that? Mm-hmm, I did. When did you write that? Oh, I just wrote it this morning before I came. I just thought, I just love this country. And I sat down, I just wrote this. All these chords and all these melodies, I did it myself. Wow. Because I really wanted to be a songwriter. And someday, you start acting that stuff out. You become that. And, wrote most all of my songs, So you do what you know how to do, even if there's nobody there. Check this out. If you can't figure out your purpose, figure out your passion. For your passion will lead you straight into your purpose. Now, I've said that before, actually. I talked about the difference between passion and a call. And when you think about purpose, you just think about your call. Because your passion is something you really love to do. You enjoy it. But it's not necessarily your call. Because a lot of times we do things that we're passionate about, but we don't make any money at it. And listen, in this life, you have to have some sort of way to develop commerce to live. Because you have to pay your bills, and you have to buy toothpaste to brush your teeth, and you have to keep the lights on, and you have to eat, and you have to clothe yourself, and you have to do all these things, and all those things take commerce. So your call, as the scripture says, your call, your gift will make a way for you and bring you before great men. Making a way is like, developing a work ethic or a job. You find out what somebody does where they actually make money at it, and that's probably what they're called to do. That's probably where their gifting is, because that's where the recompense comes, the payment comes for what they do. But sometimes people have passions for certain things that they never get paid for, that never make a career out of. It's just something they love to do, but they think that it's their calling, and it's not. It's just a passion. But a passion will help lead you to where your calling is. So a passion is like an enjoyable, it's like watching TV on your way to making a movie. You know, you might enjoy this, but this is what you do for a living. You know, you might have fun with this, but this is what you do where you actually make your living at. So that's something I would like to make sure that everybody gets. One last question. Oh, boy, do I know something about this. It says, I have just been diagnosed with a fatal disease. How do I readjust my thinking? Wow. Well, I'll tell you, you have to readjust your thinking. Because if you don't, the stress of you having to go through this and your mind wanting to always be somewhere else, doing something else, with someone else, in another location, will take the strength away from you that your body needs to fight this disease, because you're fighting for your life. So you have to accommodate yourself to your environment. You have to accommodate yourself to where you are and where you are at the time. I'll just give you an example, okay? When I was going into treatment for cancer, I knew that I was going to have to be stuck in an apartment. I had to move out to where the hospital was, and which was in Little Rock, so I had to get an apartment there. But I had to be at the hospital like maybe twice a day sometimes. Once a day, twice a day, whatever it is. It was a daily thing. But I knew I was going to be going through chemo and I'd be sick most of the time, and most of the time I would be in bed. So I had to adjust myself to this, because there was no way around it. It's just, if I didn't do this, I would die. So I had to give all my strength to fighting that disease. So one thing I did is I had to tell myself, okay, so you can't do anything for 8-9 months. So 8 or 9 months, there's no excuse. This is thrust upon you. You didn't ask for this. You didn't look for this. This is just the way life is. Whether God brought it or the devil brought it, or you just got it on your own, or it was just luck of the draw. I mean, however you think it got there, it's irrelevant, because here it is. This is how it is. You're going to be down for the next 8 or 9 months. Okay, I can't do nothing about it. So, I guess I'm going to have an 8-month vacation. I don't have to work. I don't have to get up for anything. I don't have to hit an alarm clock. I don't have to get songs ready. I don't have to get sermons ready. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to fly. I don't have to travel. I don't have to be on a bus. I have a forced 8.5-month vacation, whether I like it or not. I've been working hard since I was 17 years old. And now I get an 8 or 9 month vacation. I'm going to take it. I'm going to look at this as like a vacation. Great, I can do it. I'll do it. That's the way I had to put it in my head. I had to adjust it in my head, because anything else would make me feel terrible. And then I thought, well, since I'm going to be on vacation, it's not like I get a chance to do a whole bunch of fun stuff. What do I really like to do? Well, I have certain shows that I like to watch and certain little things that I can do, but since I'm going to be in bed most of the time, I went down to Best Buy. And I figured, well, I'm not going to be spending much money between now and the end of the next 8 months, so it's not like I'm going to be buying any clothes. So I went and got a flat screen TV, and I took the bureau, where all the drawers are, and I turned it around and backed it up against the end of the bed. and I put the TV on top of it, and they come and they hooked it all up. So that way, at the end of my bed, there was this big flat screen high def TV. Because I figured, well, if I'm gonna be watching TV, I don't want to watch that little postage stamp on the wall. I gotta live through this thing, so I might as well enjoy it. You know, it's not like I'm gonna be going out and spending money out on dinner. I'm gonna be stuck in this bed in the hospital. Might as well enjoy it, and that's what I did. And I watched the series. Was it Breaking Bad? Man, I watched that thing so many times. And a bunch of other things. Of course, I'm Italian, so of course I had to watch The Sopranos and some other stuff. I forget how. Hey, in 8 or 9 months, you can pretty much watch every TV show that's ever been on TV. But that was what my life was going to be, and I had to adjust to it. And I think you have to figure out, what is your life going to be? How do you adjust to it? How do you reinterpret those circumstances? If you look at everything as, oh, I can't do this, and I can't do that, and I can't do this, and I can't do that, you're creating spaces where you can say, I can do this, I can do that, I get to do this, and I get to do that. I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that. I have a perfectly great excuse. And that's how I did it. And I think you have to replace things with negative things that you won't be able to do with something positive. You know, whatever it is that keeps you busy, or that you doodle around at, or that you do something that doesn't take too much brain power, because when you're sick, you think you're going to write a book and all this, you don't. You know, you're too sick to think, you know. You can be writing the same sentence 5 times and don't realize it. You gotta do things that you enjoy. You know, I enjoy working on the iPad. There's games that I particularly like. There's things I like to draw, or I do a lot of coloring type things, because that artistic sense inside of me has to do something creative. And I like to watch things, and I like to watch TV shows that are really good. But that was me. You have to find something in this fatal disease that you're dealing with that you enjoy in this state. This has given you an opportunity to enjoy something that you would not have ever had the time to enjoy otherwise. And it could be the simplest, most mindless thing, but if it's something you really like, who cares? It's going to keep you alive. It's going to keep you sane, because you need that strength. You need that strength focused in on what you're doing to fight this thing off. And you can do it. People are being cured from diseases now that they've never been cured before. People are living 20 years from things they used to die in 9 months over. So that's would be my encouragement to you, is to find the things you can't do, replace it with something you can do, and use that time. Even if it doesn't seem like it's so productive, it just has to keep your mind busy, that's all. Because what you really need, your body needs strength to fight that disease. And if you're always wishing you're somewhere else, it's taking strength away from you. And you could succumb. This is how you stay alive. Trust me. I know. Unfortunately, I know these things. So, if you want to be a part of the group session, leave a comment below. Try to get a hold of you. And that group session, we put 10 people together. Everybody gets to ask a question, but we do it in private so that those questions are really the real questions you want to know. 'Cause sometimes online, people are more careful, you know, especially when they're posting, because everybody knows who asked the question, you know. So there's things you would ask when you're anonymous to everybody else that you wouldn't ask. So we get about 10 people together, put them together. I answer all the questions, and you get to listen to me answer the other people's questions too. And usually they're good, and usually they're personal, and they usually minister to you as well. So there's a lot of ministry and a lot of help going on, and I hope to see you. If you want that, just check the box, and then I'm going to see you next week. You know why? Because it'll be Tuesday again. All right. Sayonara.